Okay, now we're going to look at a longer question. So question 4 in the farming is an explain question. Explain how the Agri Programme has helped farmers in Africa. It's a 10-mark question, but quite helpfully they've given us 2 bullet points. So we can expect that there's going to be something like 5 points to make for each bullet point. So actually what it's asking, explain how the Agri Programme has helped farmers in Africa. So how Agri has made things better for farmers. And the 2 parts of our answer are going to be, to start with, the problems faced by African farmers, and then the effects that the programme has had. Now clearly the effects are mostly going to be benefits, because the question is, how has it helped farmers? So if we're talking about helping them, we're looking for benefits. Right, let's have a look at the first part of the text. Right, interestingly, it starts off with a quote from a farmer saying it's like having a new life. So that would look to be quite a useful phrase to highlight. So I'd definitely be getting my highlighter out here and highlighting that opening line, because it's quite a useful or quite a relevant thing to talk about with the effects the programme has had. Let's have a look at the rest of that opening paragraph. We're looking for problems and solutions. So we're getting this details about the farmer, nothing there yet. Details about the number of farmers, 40% of them women, nothing about the problems they're faced. 180 million 5-year programme run by the Alliance for a Green Revolution. Just tells us how much money's been invested, rather than what solutions it's given. Agri was set up in 2006. Nothing there yet about the problems or the solutions. But this looks a bit more promising. Africa's farmers have a lot of problems. One of the biggest is poor soil. Right, again, I'm going to be highlighting one of the biggest is poor soil. Cost and bad infrastructure have long prevented farmers from fertilising their fields. So it looks like the cost of fertiliser and a bad infrastructure, so kind of bad systems for getting hold of fertiliser, are also problems. So we're going to highlight each one of those. Infrastructure and cost, both to do with fertiliser, but we're on the right track now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points already. Let's keep going. So we've got a lot of problems. That's totally relevant to the explain part, and we've got 1, 2, 3 problems they face. Prevented farmers from fertilising their fields. So many African countries have been losing nutrients from their soils. Right, well, I think that's similar to the idea of poor soil, so I'm not going to highlight that at the moment. The Agri Project is the most concerted effort yet to fix the problem. Its soil health programme has set up 9,000 dealers within 5 kilometres of farmers to sell them the supplies they need. So the problem that's addressing would look to be bad infrastructure. So previously there wasn't any system for farmers getting hold of fertiliser to fertilise their fields. So here we've got the number of dealers, in fertiliser dealers, that it's set up to help them get hold of the fertiliser they need, basically. And it confirms that here. The first necessity is fertiliser, so the most important thing, the first thing they need. Thanks to these dealers supported by Agri farmers now use 10 to 50 kilograms of fertiliser per hectare. And though this is just 1/10 to 1/4 of what farmers use in rich countries, it's still a big improvement. So actually what Agri has done is give farmers access to a lot more fertiliser per hectare. So we're just going to highlight that 10 to 15 kilograms of fertilizer per hectare. It's a big improvement, and the result is a threefold increase in crops. Right, definitely going to be highlighting that because that's going to be one of the benefits we need to talk about. The effects the program has had. We've got a threefold increase in crops. Right, now let's look at the second half of the article. And this is looking hopeful again. The other major problem Agri is aiming to solve, lack of infrastructure. Okay, well we picked that up on the previous page. We had that here, bad infrastructure. So no point highlighting that again. But African smallholders are often isolated, unable to get credit or find buyers. Right, this is looking very useful. So these are problems. Smallholders are often isolated, unable to get credit or find buyers for their produce. I'm going to highlight that whole sentence, but I might want to break it up. Agri puts farmers in touch with financiers. Right, definitely useful. Problem was the farmers getting hold of any credit, any money. The solution is connecting farmers to financiers. We're connecting smallholders to the entire business chain. That's a similar point to what we've highlighted here. Groups of 15 to 25 smallholders also being encouraged to form collectives. Agri has provided advice and expertise for 155 such groups. Right, I'm going to highlight the bit about collectives. That's part of the solution, getting people to get together. So a collective is a group, a bigger group, not just individual farmers. They give farmers more bargaining power. That's a solution, that's a benefit. So we're just going to highlight bargaining power, hopefully. And allow them to jointly fund communal assets, such as secure storehouses. Right, bargaining power is sort of the meatiest solution we can find there. Threat of climate change means smallholders must keep adapting. Okay, looks like we've got another problem there. The threat of climate change. Have we got a solution? Yeah, Agri's methods are a way of adapting. So there we go. Paste and highlight. Agri's methods help farmers to adapt. And Agri's methods provide best practice. Right, I think we've got absolutely loads there, plenty for our answer. So we'd go back to our answer page. Okay, let's put a text box in so I can show you the sorts of things you might be wanting to write. And we'd start off with let's talk about the Agri program has enabled farmers to have a new life. I'm going to start off with that because I think it's talking about the effects. I'm not too worried about doing these two bullet points in order, but I'm going to keep an eye on them because problems and solutions are going to help us to write this effectively. So let's go back. What else did we find here? Problem. So, have a new life. Full stop. The first problem farmers faced was, what was it? Let's just check. Poor soil. Poor quality soil. And I want to say a little bit about that. Caused by not having enough fertilizer. Now then, was there a solution to not having enough fertilizer? No, not yet. I'm going to talk about bad infrastructure. So the bad infrastructure was what meant that farmers didn't have enough fertiliser because they couldn't get a hold of it. This was caused by a bad infrastructure which made it difficult for farmers to buy, not just buy, is it? To buy and source, like they wouldn't know where to go, enough fertiliser. It's not beautiful prose, it's not poetry, but it'll do as an answer. Right, let's go back. Okay, one of the solutions, Agri helped farmers to get hold of larger amounts of fertiliser. Right, what was the amount? Let's have a look back here. 10 to 50 kilograms per hectare. Which improved yields, so the amount of crops grown, and also the soil quality. Okay, so we can see that actually we can answer this quite quickly. We're picking up quite a few marks as we go through. Let's keep going though, we don't want to waste anything that we picked out. So we're on to the second half of the extract now. The other major problem, lack of infrastructure, we've talked about that. And then it gives a bit more detail. Smallholders are often isolated. Right, so let's use that. Farmers are, or actually let's change that. So the problem was, so farmers were often isolated. But I can remember that Agri provided a solution. Now what was it? Agri put farmers in touch with financiers. Now, why is that important? I'm thinking to myself, well, financiers are going to provide them money, who could give them, what was the word used? Who could give them credit, yeah. To buy the fertilizer required, not rewired, required. What else had we got? Groups of 15 to 25 smallholders also being encouraged to increase bargaining power, right? So Agri also encouraged farmers to get together in collectives, is the quote, to increase their bargaining power. Just going to show that I understand what that means. So get better deals and make more profit. Okay. Have we got anything else? Oh yeah, here we go. We've got threat of climate change. Farmers are threatened by climate change. So that's the problem faced by African farmers. But Agri is helping them to become more, no, what was it back here? Adaptable or more efficient. Yeah, efficient and adapt. So I'm going to use those in my answers. Help become more adaptable and efficient to meet the demands of a changing world. Pretty happy with that.